You can see it going up and down. It is working. Okay, we've had a technical difficulty with the microphone, and this is a message for Andy. Andy, when you edit this video, please take out everything that's before this passage of script. No, take out all the blank space between the last things I said and this passage of scripture. And if Andy, I'm sure you'll catch this if and when you get the video to edit. Uh, for the audience in general, as you heard me leave a message for the gentleman that edits our videos, I don't know how much you've heard and how much you haven't heard, but where I am is in Proverbs chapter 31 and verse 10, and I'm going to speak on the subject of the fact that we're heirs, husbands and wives are heirs together of the faith of God or the truth of God. And in that position, we have instruction from God as to how we should function relevant to each other. And I was about to read from Proverbs 31, which is from Solomon, a man who knows something about having wives, and it wasn't all pleasant. But the subject in Proverbs 31, starting with verse 10, starts out with the expression, "Who can find a virtuous wife? For her worth is far above rubies. The heart of her husband safely trusts in her," it says. In other words, she's a trustworthy, a reliable, a responsible person. So he will have no lack of gain. She does him good and not evil all the days of her life. And then it describes her being a homemaker, a keeper at home in an agricultural environment, and where she has people that work for her and people that are concerned to be considered as servants and things, and she manages the home. So she's responsible, she's dependable, she's trustworthy. She seeks wool and flax, and she willingly works with her hand, and she is like the merchant ships. She brings food from afar. She also rises while it is still night and provides food for her household. And it's I happen to be in San Diego at this time when we're making this uh, video, and I am staying with some Christian friends, and I happen to know that the lady of the house this morning was up before the sun, and her husband was up before the sun. And I understand that she fixed him breakfast, and then after he went to work, she went back to bed. Okay, that's 2020 too. That's in the United States, in the state of California, and the general area of San Diego, and it's happening right now. People, there are women who are and who know how to be virtuous women. Other people, they don't get up till past noon, and they don't know whether they're hungry or they're not hungry, and they haven't done too much production prior all day and all the night before, and that's the story of their life. But that isn't true of everybody. And so as you read this passage, you have to kind of convert it. If you're not in an agricultural environment, then you're not, and we're not in a time, we don't live in a time where we start out with flax and with wool, and we comb the wool, we card the wool, we spin the wool, we then work it in, weave it into cloth, and then from there we make garments out of it. Most of us don't do that, but there's something, I guarantee you, that goes on in most every household that would be a worthwhile, profitable thing and would be consistent with what we're supposed to get in the way of the message out of this passage for today. Uh, so she rises up. She will do him good, no evil, all the days of her life. She brings food from afar. Verse 15, she rises up while it's still dark and provides food for her household. That's really why she does it. Now, and of course, another thing they didn't have was a lot of automatic equipment. I have at home where we live a coffee maker that if you are smart enough to know how to program it the night before, why, it'll wake up when you want it to wake up, and it'll make a cup of coffee, and you can sleep in a little longer. But the woman in Proverbs 31 doesn't have that advantage. If she's going to fix food for a family, she starts early because there's a lot of it being done by hand. But there's an application. She provides food for her household and a portion for her maidservants, and she considers a field and she buys it. And from her profits she plants a vineyard, and she girds herself with strength and strengthens her arms, and she perceives that her merchandise is good, and her lamp does not go out